the FBI, although I don't think I can condemn everything they've ever done, because I'm sure some of the investigations and the investigation of crime have been beneficial, but that can be accomplished through the Justice Department in the United States. We would reject that portion of it. The FBI continues to keep a lot of records on a lot of individuals. The CIA has only been here since 1947. Their record is lousy. Just think of the CIA, Democratic administration.
All right, folks. Can you hear me okay? Are we live?
Couldn't hear Ron Paul, but could hear you.
Yeah, I'm seeing people in the chat saying they couldn't hear the clip. I am so sorry, folks. As you can tell, not in our normal environment. I am on vacation. I am way up north. So I guess we screwed that whole clip up completely. But what it was Ron Paul in 1988 calling out the FBI for attacking political enemies of the regime. So maybe at some point I can edit the video to like splice that back in or something. But we're doing the best with what we have, folks. We're not on Rumble tonight. You know why? Because apparently I don't have my login information for Rumble, and I don't have my password file, and I could not recover it. All my email addresses for recovering it didn't exist. Rumble doesn't recognize it. I have no idea how I ever signed into Rumble, but that's the way it goes. So sorry, everybody, for the technical difficulties. But hey, folks in chat, how are you guys all doing tonight? It's been another crazy week. And what Ron Paul was hinting at, which I guess you guys couldn't hear, was appropriate with respect to the FBI raiding, not executing a search warrant, raiding Donald Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago to seize documents that he apparently was somehow not authorized to have, which is weird since he was the president of the United States and have exclusive jurisdiction to declassify anything that he wants. But hey, Amber, Shane, how are you guys doing tonight? It's good to see you guys.
Can't complain too much. Yeah, I mean, when it came down to the declassification, I remember that when Trump attempted to declassify swaths of Russiagate documents, basically the deep state overruled him. His own bureaucrats, kind of dragged their feet for months after he said, "I want them declassified," and then by that time, the election was already stolen from him. So it doesn't surprise me they'd come after him like this, considering everything we've seen from the January 6th probe. The overreach has intensified. It does seem like the January 6th incident is their Reichstag fire of sorts.
Yep. And it's bizarre because that kind of insubordination happened throughout the Trump administration. You would think he would have done something about that earlier on. I hope maybe next time he hires people that can route that out. But yeah, it's because the same thing happened with his foreign policy. His foreign policy in Syria, foreign policy in Afghanistan. He said he wanted to get us out of this stuff. Apparently, somehow his subordinates think they can veto him, and somehow they did and got away with it. It is incredible. How about you, Amber? How are you doing this lovely August evening? You're on mute, by the way. All right. Amber has something going on.
I'm a single mom tonight, so it's going to be a little difficult. I have a crying girl.
You've got more technical problems than I've got tonight then. Jesus. Well, there you go. Well, hey, folks. Thank you for joining us. All right, so Stephen Ghostly mentions fun convention Thursday night. We should talk about those. So for those who don't know, and to be fair, Rescue Michigan didn't say anything about the county conventions that took place this past Thursday. But for those who were involved in GOP, your county convention was this past Thursday, where they elected delegates to the upcoming state, where they will officially nominate Christina Caramo, Matt DePerno for Secretary of State and Attorney General, respectively. And presumably, we'll talk about that in a second, also formally nominate who Tudor Dixon picks to be her running mate for governor of Michigan. So that's what's happening at the upcoming state convention, which I think, Shane, do you know the date? Is it? I mean, I know it's late August. It's like the 31st. Is that right?
27th.
27th.
My contribution.
There you go. 27th at Lansing Center in Lansing, Michigan. So, do you want to talk about, I don't know, Shane, what do you think? Should we talk about the county conventions first or the state convention?
Let's start about
10 a.m. 10 a.m. Lansing Center. Yes.
Let's start with the county conventions. I know everything went incredibly smoothly in Oakland. A far cry from how things were in the past. A lot of new people in the process. I'm in the Commerce area, which is kind of the home of the Lakes Area Tea Party. So generally, in our district or whatever you want to call it, our caucus, we have a lot of people who we all know because we've been around for a lot of us 10, 15 years doing the same kind of thing. But this time it was probably like 60% completely new people who had won their precinct delegate races, and then 40% was the old gang, and a lot showed up because they heeded the call, hearing from Charlie Kirk or Steve Bannon, or they were signed up through Stand Up Oakland County, which is a very good active stand-up chapter here. So it was a lot of new people, and we did everything we could to kind of make the process as transparent as possible. And it seemed like, even though it was, took a little longer than we would have liked in my caucus and some other caucuses too. So it may have dragged a little bit, but it seemed like everyone, or the vast majority of people, were really happy with how it went and felt like their rights were not violated. And there's a lot of new enthusiasm for getting involved in the party. So we're really seeing, I think this is probably the biggest wave ever of new delegates, even dwarfing anything we saw, during the kind of the initial Tea Party Ron Paul days, when, the delegate wars, so to speak, were really heating up. This dwarfs even that. So it's a great time to be a Republican activist. And if we can just in the grassroots stop shooting ourselves in the foot and go into war with each other over nonsense, then the future's pretty bright.
Yeah. By the way, Shane, you were breaking up there, and that might be a problem on my end. So maybe my internet connection is not working properly. So, folks in the chat, let me know. But whatever it is, we're doing the best we can here. Like I said, I'm in Marquette, and my phone is my internet. So if it's not working well, that's too bad. Okay, Stephen goes and says Shane was clear to me. So hopefully my phone is prioritizing me streaming and not me hearing from our panel. But I did hear Shane say that he thought the convention for some took longer than it might have. If you folks are not in Washtenaw County, you have no idea what conventions taking too long means. Because in my county, in Washtenaw County, we had to count every vote by hand. So here's what happened in my county. I ended up chairing my county convention, which I did not plan on doing. But here's how that all shook out. And then we'll follow up with Shane about the Oakland County Convention. And of course, we're going to also talk about the Macomb County Convention, which was extremely, well, there's two of them, which there's not supposed to be. So we'll talk about Macomb County as well. And people in chat, please let me know if you have any crazy stories about your county. Let us know as well. But in my county, I'm in Washtenaw County, folks, and that's the most liberal county in Michigan. So we're used to being beat down by the Democrats at local offices and everywhere. We don't have a Republican Party that's a power structure to speak of in any sense of the word. And Patty P says our Wayne 6 adjourned at 10:52 p.m. Ugh. Hey, Patty, I was there till 12:30. So let me tell you how this all worked out. So here's the story. I walked into my county convention having no plans other than to vote for myself for delegate to state convention and get the heck out of there. And here's the backstory. Washtenaw County has a county chair. His name is David Frey, who from the get-go was very tough to deal with. And worst of all, for all of the new volunteers who came to our county to get involved, to get engaged, to help save our country and all this other good stuff. And he was nasty and abusive to them. He was nasty and abusive to everybody else in the county GOP. He was a tyrant. He broke the rules. He was terrible. And then about, I think, I want to say 7 or 8 months ago, he got a very, very, very bad case of COVID and spent the next 3 months in the hospital on a ventilator. And obviously, no matter what his issues were with the party, we wished him well. We certainly didn't, wish for anything less than that. But he was out of the picture in our county party for a long time. So our convention starts, and about 10 minutes after 7 o'clock, this guy gets up on the microphone, and he's wearing a white T-shirt. He's really, really skinny guy. He's got a red baseball hat on. He starts saying, "So, folks, I think what we want to do tonight is, because I know we have so many new people. We had a lot of, as Shane said, we had a lot of new people in Washtenaw County as well. Tons of them. 200 plus people were at our county convention, which is about 100 more than the last one. And this guy says, so we've got so many new people. I think what we want to do is to we're just going to elect our state delegates randomly. At which point the whole audience is like, what? And I'm thinking, like, who is this guy? And then it occurs to me, that's our county chairman. I hadn't seen him since before he got COVID. He's lost like 50 pounds. That was David. And at the same time, David's saying to everybody, hey, everybody, thanks for being here. Let's randomly choose our state delegates. The whole audience is like angry. And they're like, are you kidding? Is that how it's done here? So at that point, I get up and I say, are you kidding me? We haven't even the pledge. You're totally out of order. We haven't had the pledge in the prairie yet. We haven't elected our permanent chairman yet. You can't just do this now. That's not how this works. So, and then the room erupts in applause. And so, and Frey just completely continues to break the rules. And he's like, well, no, this is a fair question. And I think we should elect people randomly to state conventions. So I'm going to move that we have a vote on this. And so he asks for a vote on it. And the whole room is against him. So, the ayes are like non-existent. The nays are overwhelming. Okay, all right, okay. All right, so I guess our next order of business is to elect our permanent chairman. And eventually, okay, no, we have to have the pledge and the prayer first. So they do that finally, after all that happens. And then at last comes the motion for the permanent chairman. So behind me is the vice chairman, John Dunlap, who ran the county party for the past, 6 months or so. And I look at him and was like, I go to him, do you want to run the convention? He's like, no. Next to him is this guy. His name's Fred Ward. He was actually my technical communications professor at U of M. The only guy in the county party that really understands Robert's Rules of Order. So I'm like, Fred, do you want to chair this convention? He's like, no. So then they go to me and they're like, do you want to chair this convention? I was like, no, but I will if I need to. So like, all right. So when the motion comes for permanent chairman, someone gets up and says, I nominate James Stewart. I have no idea who James Stewart is. Apparently, it turns out he's actually a hardcore, newly recruited potential grassroots leader, but we didn't know that at the time. So then it was either Fred or John nominates me. And then someone else nominates John Dunlap, the vice chair. And then someone else nominates the county chair, the actual county chair, the temporary chair, David Frey. So I turn around because I'm like, look, John, you have to withdraw because now we have two of us in the running and people aren't going to know who to vote for. It's going to split the vote. So John's like, got it. So John says, I withdraw. So then we have the vote between the three of us, me, James Stewart, and the actual chair, David Frey. So Stewart gets like 30 votes. I end up with like 50, and David Frey gets like 12. So then I'm chairing the convention for the rest of the night. And my first order of business is get us out of here as fast as we possibly can. Like, that's all I'm thinking about at that point is let's just get the vote for the state convention done, get everybody home. Because these things, if you guys have been to county convention before, they drag on for hours. They're agonizing. my first point of advice for everybody going to county convention is bring a book, because you will be bored off of your ass. And in Washtenaw County, our geniuses at the county party don't allow us to use any machine to count the votes. So I get up as the county chair, and I'm like, all right, folks, we have to elect 42 delegates and 42 alternates out of 120 candidates for state convention. So I will entertain a motion for us to do it all on one ballot, so that we only have to do this thing once. So the top vote getters will go to convention. The next 42, top 42 can be alternates. We'll have a random method for splitting the alternates. And that way we won't have to have a second ballot. And of course the room's like, yep, let's do that. And we were there till 12:30 in the morning, trying to figure out who were the top 84, ranking the top 84 vote getters out of 120 candidates to state convention. So that was our county convention, folks. Was yours better? I'm sure it was. Unless you're in Macomb County. Then yours was worse.
Well, I hear Macomb, both county conventions went pretty smoothly. It's just the
Both of them?
aftermath. Both of them went smoothly. It's just the aftermath is going to be grueling hell.
Yeah, yeah. So for those of you who haven't heard the story about Macomb County, Mark Fortin was elected the Macomb County chairman in 2020. And at the previous county convention, the one that was in what, April, was it? I think it was in April. It was like around April. To elect delegates to the state convention. At the Macomb County convention, the mayor voted to add to the agenda, which I don't know if they can do or not, but we'll talk about that in a second, to overthrow the entire county executive. And they had the votes to do it. So a couple of weeks ago, apparently, a judge, Mark Fortin, the chair, the former chair, sued the county party or the GOP.
I believe Adam. I believe it was Adam. I believe it was Castiglia who. It was a lawsuit initiated by Castiglia actually to see who was or wasn't the chair, or something to that effect.
We probably shouldn't play. I don't know. I don't think we really know that whole thing.
But
he did the lawsuit.
But Castiglia was the plaintiff in it.
Oh.
Yep, and then I'll talk a little bit about it while Adam is apparently gone.
Okay.
So yeah, it was.
I think I'm back now.
Welcome back, Adam. But I was just saying that I believe Eric was the plaintiff on that suit.
Oh, he was.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. So anyway, yeah, and pardon me, folks, if Shayna already explained this while I was disconnected. This is the way things work in the UP. But a judge said that no, they couldn't do that at the convention. And a judge reinstated Mark Fortin as county chair. Eric Castiglia was the chair that they elected at the past convention. So then after that happened, the Michigan Republican Party says, no, we recognize Eric Castiglia as the chair of Macomb County. So they had two separate conventions to elect state delegates.
Well, and they have 20 days for the order to go into effect. So the 20 days.
Oh, they do.
Yes, they have 20 days for the order to go into effect. So it wasn't just an order blanketed right away.
Right, but the order would Fortin as chairman in 20 days. It doesn't mean that the GOP has to recognize him as the chair.
Exactly, too. That's right.
And I believe there may be an appeal in the works.
There is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and here's the thing, folks. I mean, there's two aspects to this. There's the legal aspect and there's the political aspect. The legal aspect, who knows how that's going to turn out? But politically, what's the point of any of this for the Macomb County GOP to try to sort this out? I mean, and I think we talked about this on our show last week, but
Mark Fortin is the most divisive person right now in the whole Republican Party of Michigan, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, even if he is the legally rightful chairman, if a majority of precinct delegates elect to overthrow you and the entire executive committee, what's the point of the whole exercise?
Right.
I mean, the weird thing. I mean, and here's the thing that I think is hard for people to, and I don't know why, to understand. You don't want to be the chairman. I mean, people have been talking to me now like I should be the next chairman of Washington County. I don't want to be. Why would anybody want to be your county chair? Amber claps her hands. Being chairman means you
I'm
don't get
excited
paid anything.
for you. I'm so excited for you.
Why? It's going to distract me from my Rescue Michigan mission?
No, so we can save the state together, Adam.
You've been drafted. You've been called upon, Adam.
Shane's been doing the 11th for free. I basically do everything for free.
What exactly is the benefit to me or anybody else, for that matter, being the chairman of the county party?
Because
what does that give me the ability to do that I don't currently have the ability to do?
It makes you go to state and make state regulations, or it can have you a bigger part in everything at the state level. You can change bylaws. You can make resolutions.
So, Rescue Michigan has 77,000 subscribers. The Washington County GOP's got like 7,000.
I mean, at the state level, you can change bylaws and make resolutions and fix stuff from the state GOP level to ricochet out to the whole state, that we can have a better, stronger county or state party. County parties can ricochet up and we can all meet in the middle and save our states. Kumbaya.
But it would probably
do that anyway.
The middle ground would probably be Adam finding someone who is fair-minded.
Yeah,
Someone who has the time and is maybe retired and fair-minded.
If I'm county chairman, my announcement will be
fair-minded.
I am resigning the instant I find my replacement, and that's it. I mean, look, folks. Typically, county chairs are two kinds of people: people that can raise tons of money because they're super rich and know lots of super rich people, or they're attorneys who are trying to get appointed by the governor to be appeals judges or something like that. I'm neither of those. So that's not my cup of tea. You know, I don't want to be someone that's subject to the will of the masses of the county GOP. And I also don't want to lose my freedom to be able to criticize Republicans, which you kind of do if you're the county chair. You know, if you're and present company accepted, of course. You know,
not for Mark Fortin. He did whatever he wanted.
Well, right, yeah, but that's why Mark Fortin shouldn't be county chair. But typically being a Republican Party official means, you know, the stupid Reagan 11th commandment thing: "Thou shalt not criticize Republicans," which I will do all the time. And you know, that's something that you kind of accept when you take on the role. I don't want to have that restriction. I definitely
think you need to be more judicious in how you go about talking about Republicans, especially ones in your county or district when you're the chairman. I think that would probably be better if Washtenaw were to come under the next chair would be someone who is, an ally, fair-minded, constitutionalist, patriot. Maybe someone who's retired maybe and has some free time that they'd be willing to put to kind of clean up the party there. So I hope you can find that guy, Adam.
Adam D'Angeli or bust. Yeah, just like Shane Trejo found the 11th chair last time, and he just had to do it. Just kind of fight and bear.
I mean, if the party really wants me to do it, my agenda will be fix the bylaws, recruit my replacement, and leave. And that'll be it.
Fix the bylaws. Fix the bylaws for the state. Fix the bylaws for the county, and then done. Fix the state, though.
No.
But let's get back to Macomb. I wanted to say about.
I'll just do that. Oh yeah. So let's talk more about Macomb County, because Macomb County. Macomb County is important.
Yeah, I want to interject something real quick. That if any delegate thinks that it's about protecting Christina Caramo and Matt DePerno at convention, that's what the Macomb County fight's about, that is incorrect.
That really goes to the state issue, which we were going to talk about, is the state convention. And this is also why, I was talking to people in like text groups, and I was like, can I pass on the state convention? Can I skip my county convention? I actually asked people, can I not go to my county convention? Because I really don't want to. I don't care about the state convention. And they're like, no, it's so important. It's so important. You have to go to state convention. I'm like, why? So let's talk about the state convention. Two things are possibly happening at the state convention. One is they formally, officially nominate Matt DePerno and Christina Caramo for Attorney General and Secretary of State. And some people are suggesting that the establishment's going to try to overthrow them somehow at the state convention on August 27th. That, to me, does not pass the smell test. I don't see how they possibly could without blowing up the party, damaging the candidates for governor, damaging the whole party. I can't imagine anybody actually trying to pull that off with any credibility.
It would be hard to do, and especially with the wave influx of new delegates who are signing up because they're heeding the call. They've been listening to War Room, and they want to stop all the what they see as the kind of the rhino shenanigans. So it just does not seem feasible. I don't think it had been feasible under the old slate of delegates, and now it really doesn't seem feasible under the new, more patriotic slate of delegates.
I mean, if you look at Kent County took over its whole establishment. The Kent County grassroots came through. Livingston the same way. I mean,
I heard that about Ottawa County. You're saying Kent County too?
Mm-hmm. Kent County.
Wow.
They went.
I've heard I've heard as many as dozens of counties just came in and the new guys just took over, and they ousted what they saw as the establishment of yesteryear. I don't know 100%. And a lot of these times, a lot of people who are, well-meaning, well-intentioned kind of get caught up in the crossfire. But there is a kind of a new dawn in the party that's rising right now. And as someone who's been doing this for 10 years, Adam, you've been doing it for what, 15, 16 years. It's definitely refreshing to see that the people are having more of a voice, even if that it's not always perfect, to put it mildly. But it is nice to see that the people are organizing and pushing back against the power structure that's wronged them for so long.
Yeah, and by the way, my internet's acting real funny right now, so I could barely understand you, but that's the problem on my end. Maybe you guys can't hear me. Kara McAllister in the chat says, yeah, but the problem is still the same. The whole point of that April convention was to nominate early, and if they overthrow the candidates, it would be a riot within the grassroots that they're not going to be able to tolerate. So I see no path for it. I see no benefit to it. It's not going to result in someone else being elected attorney. It's going to result in Democrat. It would humiliate the establishment beyond.
Agreed.
Thank you for that commentary, Robot Adam.
It would, yeah, I agreed.
Yeah,
sounding a little bit robotic.
Sorry, folks.
More robotic than normal.
We may have to cut it short tonight. I can't help my situation here with the internet. Maybe I could. Maybe.
Well, I'll talk while Adam is frozen. So the whole Macomb situation is very unfortunate. But it's one thing I want to expound on the point. It's not about protecting Christina and Matt. The Republican Party of Macomb Chairman Eric Castiglia was fundraising for Matt DePerno and on board for the DePerno and Caramo for AG and SOS. And it was actually Fortin who pulled his endorsement of Matt DePerno right before the convention in April. So,
because he didn't get invited to Mar-a-Lago, wasn't it?
Yes. So, because he apparently wanted to go to the fundraiser for free, and he, that's generally not how fundraisers work. So he pulled his endorsement of DePerno, and conceivably that could have cost DePerno the race. So there's definitely something else going on here. It's just not the poor grassroots getting stomped on by the establishment. There are egos at play here, and it's not about the protecting Christina and Matt. It's a lot of it is about people who feel wronged and want to kind of blow things up on their way out.
Yep, I agree. Hope you guys can hear me. Apparently, my internet is going crazy, and I'm so sorry, folks. It's just the way it is. I do see
You're
in the
better
chat. I'm better now. Okay, well, but
Yes.
that might be fleeting. We'll see. I hope so. I did see Patty P said that the state party had a vote yesterday or recently that they're not going to try to oust the nominees for Attorney General or SOS, which of course they wouldn't. But here's another thing, though, folks, that could happen at the state convention, and we should point this out because it's happened before. It's possible the grassroots wants to oust whoever Tudor Dixon picks for her running mate. And this did happen in 2010 with Rick Snyder. He announced he was nominating Brian Calley to be his running mate. And Brian Calley had a record of being a rhino in the legislature. The grassroots overwhelmingly at that 2010 state convention shouted no on supporting Brian Calley for lieutenant governor. And they instead supported some other guy. And here's what happened in 2010. There was so much commotion because the people on the dais, I think it was like, who's that guy? Shane, you know who I'm talking about. The military guy, Hank Fuse. And it was him, and it was like the state chair and a few others. And they tried to claim that the voice vote went to Calley when it clearly did not. And the whole room erupted in anger. And so they're like, all right, hold on. Let's go. And they went into the back room to try to figure out what they're going to do next. They claimed that they couldn't have a roll call vote for lieutenant governor because their ballots wouldn't allow it, although the ballots they had for attorney general and SOS had blank fields in them that could have been used. But they claimed this. And anyway, so they all went behind the stage, and a few minutes later, the guy, whatever his name was, who was challenging Brian Calley for lieutenant governor, withdrew and said, hey, folks, sorry, I know you guys all support me, but I'm going to Tony Parton says, was it Todd Corser? No, it was not Todd Corser. It was some other guy. And I don't know what they offered him or what they threatened him with, but whatever it was, they got him to back down. He withdrew. And then Brian Calley became the nominee for lieutenant governor. And that's something the state party does not want to have happen. And I've got a suspicion, folks, that no matter who Tudor Dixon picks, there's going to be some grassroots people that want to attack that. Because there's some grassroots people who are furious about Tudor Dixon winning the nomination.
But Adam, I'm pretty sure they changed the rules so that basically it's just a rubber stamp for lieutenant governor now. It's not selected in the same fashion as AG.
There's no vote at all?
I think it's just like perfunctory. I don't think there's any sort of ability to nominate anyone that from the floor that the grassroots wants. I don't know the exact rule, but I'm fairly certain they changed something to make sure that the lieutenant governor battle wouldn't happen again.
You're probably right, and there's probably even some procedural way they can do it. But the problem they'll have is there could still be a lot of grassroots animosity towards Tudor Dixon and her running mate at the state convention, no matter what, even if just boos and yelling and screaming.
Yeah, what if hundreds of people walk out in rage and it's all caught on tape and it's a big, it blows up in the campaign's face, and that's not the kind of scene that you want heading into, with absent ballots going out in 3 or 4 weeks or whatever. So it could be a total disaster if they don't pick someone who the grassroots finds palatable. The names I've heard thrown out there, which again, all the rumor mill, none of them are people who the grassroots would ever want in a million years. So and there's been
it wouldn't matter
radio silence from Dixon and her people. So we'll see how it all turns out. It's all up in the air.
It wouldn't matter if she picked Ted Nugent to be her running mate. The grassroots would be angry, and they call him a rhino. People are mad about the outcome of the governor race, and that's all there is to it. And I hope people get over it, folks, because and we talked about this in previous live streams. I mean, if it was someone who was a rhino who had done something that was absolutely unacceptable, like a Peter Meyer or Fred Upton or what have you, that'd be one thing. But Tudor Dixon ran as a conservative. And you can say, well, she wasn't as conservative as, Brian Kelly or Garrett Soldano, but but to call her a rhino, I don't think was substantiated. And you know, I hate to say, like, oh, if you don't support Tudor Dixon, then you're just helping Gretchen Whitmer win. Because that's the same kind of logic people used against Ron Paul and against and every time you criticize someone for being
Or like,
a
if
rhino,
you're not helping
Democrats.
DePerno, you're gonna let Dana Nessel win.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, Amber. Did you have a point there about something?
Yeah, I'm saying if you help the other person, or you know, stomp for the other person, you're helping the other person win, or not voting.
When have I ever attacked Matt DePerno after he became the nominee? Never.
You
did
didn't.
That.
You didn't. Not yet. You're doing good. I'm just saying.
When? After he became the nominee?
I was just throwing out names. We were just throwing out names, weren't we? I was playing a game.
I've never badmouthed Matt DePerno after he became the nominee.
I might have. I wasn't.
I mean,
about
before,
you.
I mean, before he became the nominee, I said a bunch of things about him, about his legal work, about, you know, a whole lot of things. But you know, I'm abstaining from that race, and that's the thing, folks. Too, if you don't like the candidate for governor, work for someone who's running for state rep or state senate or judge or anything else. You don't have an obligation to weigh in on every single race. If you don't like who Tudor Dixon is for governor, then you can support Christina Caramo, or you can support a candidate for state rep, or anywhere else. You don't have it. And again, just going back to that bit about being the county chair, I don't want to have the obligation single person on the ticket. But you don't have to weigh in on every single campaign and every single candidate. You can support people you care about.
And John Smith says in the chat, if you don't support Hillsdale GOP, then you are a rhino. ... Ha 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 ha. I don't even really. I read a little bit about what happened in Hillsdale. John, can you enlighten us on what happened there?
That shit was bananas. We should send a link to John and have John come on. Seriously.
Yeah. Feel free to forward the email. Yeah, feel free to forward him the email, or
now.
Again, you.
But in the meantime, I would I want to talk a little bit about what you said about Tudor being a conservative. Look at how Whitmer's hitting her in the media right now. It's for being too pro-life, for not supporting, you know, enough abortion, and that's the big issue they're hitting her on. Not, you know, it's not something that, you know, that sounds liberal in the slightest. It's for being too conservative, allegedly. So, you know, she didn't run as you know, as a leftist or as a moderate. But you know, it's usually, I think it's mostly the money behind her that has people angry about.
No, I mean that's the thing too. Is, I mean, the second placer, the runner-up, Kevin Rinke, he was clearly less pro-life and less pro-Second Amendment than Tudor was. So, you know, the establishment didn't support Kevin Rinke. Good, fine, great. And Stephen Ghostley says, yes, nonstop pro-life attacks on Dixon. And here's, I think, folks, where we should transition to talking about these proposals, because this is where it's a question of letting the left control the messaging, letting the mass media control the messaging. Because actually, Gretchen Whitmer is the radical on abortion. She's the one that wants to kill living babies. She's the one that thinks it's okay to have children castrated, sexually mutilated without their parents' knowledge or consent. That's in proposals that will be on the ballot. And that's where we have to go with this stuff. But this is tough for Republicans to understand. You know, when they get attacked on something, they want to change the subject. They don't want to confront it directly. And that's a problem. All right, we got John here. John, how's it going, buddy? Tell us about what happened in your county convention last Thursday.
You want me to tell you what happened at our county convention, or you want me to tell you a little lead-up story so you can understand what happened in our convention?
Do both.
Give it all.
Oh, man.
All the juicy details.
Bear it all.
Well, I got to be cautious somewhat. Okay, so I'll be able to give you most of it, though. Well, let me tell you guys a little bit about Hillsdale. We turned our apportionment paperwork in a day late. Well, it was due on a Friday. We turned it in on a Monday. And that is where you can pick the number of precincts, delegates in each precinct in your community. So the chair of each GOP can pick the number of precinct delegates in their community. And so we turned that paperwork in a day late, even though we had it probably for several months and we forgot about it type deal and turned it in late. Now, the election board of each county can determine now the precinct, amount of precinct delegates are each precinct, right? And they got to have at least one per precinct. So they can take that down. If you have 18 precincts, they can take it down to 18 total delegates in your community, which is seems a little strange in my opinion. But regardless, we go in front of a hearing in front of our election committee in Hillsdale. We had currently at that time 133 slots across all of Hillsdale County. Marnie Cass is my county clerk. Stephanie Kaiser is my county treasurer, and Michelle Bianchi is a probate judge. Two of those people are on my executive committee board. In the hearing, it's just a hearing. There's no law per se where they got with the amount of precincts that you can have in each delegate in each precinct. There's no law that says we're going to take it down to 100. Now, there is a suggestion. So my county clerk says there's a suggestion of 100 slots across the whole county. We had 133. So in this hearing, my county clerk was pressuring the probate judge to knock it down to 100. And I would ask questions like, why are you knocking it down to 100? Because it doesn't really make sense. We're in a county that votes 74% Republican. The Democrats have 102 slots. You want us to take us down to 100 slots? It doesn't make really any sense unless it's a form of punishment. So I would
right. And the other thing too is, I mean, you turn in your paperwork late, but that's clearly what the will of the county party was. So by what authority does the probate judge get to decide what the composition of the county GOP is?
Well, that's it, right? So when I said you're going to take it down to 100 slots, there's several precincts that are really competitive. A lot of people want to be involved. And I kept actually saying that in the hearing is, look, we encourage people to run for office, but yet you want to restrict more. And there was no real reason why they were restricting it other than form of punishment. So I kept asking, is this a form of punishment? But of course, they don't want to say that in a court proceeding. Also, our county sheriff, Scott Hodshire, was sitting in the room as well that whole time. Now, the reason why I'm naming some of these people, there's a reason why I'm naming some of these people. Now, I thought that after that hearing, this was back in the springtime, or like May-ish time, I think, and I thought it was kind of weird. Now, 24 people at a meeting signed up to be precinct delegates. This is a common problem, Adam, I think you would be aware of, is on those delegate applications, there's a date, there's a place where the person signs and then dates it, and then your notary stamps it and is supposed to date it. Well, sometimes those notaries see the date and they don't date it themselves. That's a problem. There's a problem with these applications. There was 47 of those in Macomb County, for an example, and Anthony Fernini passed all 47 of those. Now, prior elections, there's always been a level of discretion, and all of a sudden now there's not a level of discretion. So Marnie Cass, my county clerk, rejected 24 of our applications at the last second on the last day. Now, let me remind you, we had those in for over 2 months, or approximately 2 months. So she sat on the applications for 2 months, and then at the last second rejected them because the notary didn't date them on top of our date. So it would say 3/2/22. I would put that, and then the notary is supposed to put 3/2/22. So she rejected them at the last second. Now, if you go look at SOS rules, she's supposed to go over those and notify us right away. She's not supposed to be sitting on these for 2 months and then reject them at the last second. On top of it, the buildup of a coup on the other, and when I say the opposite, and I don't think we all are very aware there's two different types of Republicans anymore, it seems like. And now obviously it's a spectrum and there's people in between like Adam, but in all reality, Senator Shirkey, along with State Representative Andrew Fink, along with J.J. Hodshire, the director of the hospital, and with Scott Hodshire, our sheriff, Marnie Cass, our county clerk, and several other government officials in our community all signed up to be precinct. These people, not Senator Shirkey, I don't think signed up to be precinct delegate, but a lot of these people signed up to be precinct delegates. First off, when they already are on the executive committee, so they already have a vote, so they're just taking up slots against precinct delegates. But on top of it, they are rigging precinct delegate elections in Hillsdale County. Now, not only did they do this, is that the DeVos family, that Shirkey controls that funding, came in and flyered for their delegates throughout our county. one of 3 counties that I'm aware of, Kent County and Oakland County being the other 2. So little old Hillsdale that has 100 precinct delegates, they wanted to come in and take away 24 of my precinct delegates at the last second when we had to go ahead.
I was just going to ask because, we couldn't prove who was manipulating the delegate races in Kent County. I think the suspicion was it was like the DeVos machine or maybe Terry Lynn Land or something. But you're saying this happened in Hillsdale County also.
That's correct.
And you're alleging that Mike Shirkey was behind it.
And I'll tell you a lot of the. First off, Mike Shirkey represents Hillsdale County. He's like 2 miles from my house, and so really, be honest with you, I've been having run-ins with Mike Shirkey for a little while now, and I think you guys are all aware of this. And I pull a lot of time away from him for him to focus on Hillsdale. So what's weird about Hillsdale is we don't got no money. We're 4% above we're poverty-wise worse than everybody else in the state. We have no people. We got 46,000 people in our county. 6,000 people voted our last election. Not many people are voting, right? So why does Hillsdale matter to anybody? And that's because we've been just being a loud voice and being influential because we took over our county party a year and a half ago, and we just dropping bombs all the time. So it's in Mike Shirkey's backyard. And we also got Hillsdale College, although they don't help locally or statewide, but obviously we use that as a tool to spread constitutional values. So Shirkey has to get it under control or it's just going to continue to get worse. After our censure of him, after the undercover video of him that destroyed his governor run, if he wanted to go for governor run, I know this stuff is forgotten already for a lot of people, but we'll keep on top of that if he ever tries to run for governor again, or attempt to at least. So I think, in my opinion, that Shirkey definitely was involved. What happened? Okay, so let's just get right to the convention stuff because that's the juicy stuff. So we at the localized level, we have in our bylaws disavowalments. And the reason why you have disavowalments at the local level is because what if let me tell you too, I didn't get to explain this. We have 100 slots, right? We have 130 people approximately running for 100 slots. I think we're the only county in the whole state.
The precinct delegates?
Yes. I think we're the only. What's that?
By the way, just to let our audience know, I turned off my camera because my internet connection is garbage, and I think maybe if I turn off the video, maybe that'll help. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
It does help. So we have 130 people running for 100 slots. I think we're the only county in the whole state that has ran into this problem now where we have more delegates than slots allocated total. I know there's some precincts that in like say Oakland County that they have that issue, but it's not all the precincts. And so our county clerk and deputy clerk, Gabe Dane, went around the courthouse on taxpaying dollars recruiting precinct delegates. It's like there's like 4 or 5 people in her office alone. And so on taxpaying dollars, they went around recruiting candidates. Well, I didn't see her recruiting for Democrats. I hear about her recruiting for Democrats. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think you could be doing any of that on taxpaying dollars. So this is, people are like, well, how do you know this is going on? Well, they tell us directly. But leading to the convention, so that's the juicy stuff. Well, we did a disavowalment of approximately 80 people in our community. Wahlberg was on that list. Fink was on that list. There was a lot of people on that list. County clerk, a lot of government body was on that list. For the last 2 years, 3 years, I haven't seen Andrew Fink at the GOP in 3 years. I haven't seen Wahlberg. Wahlberg's been there twice in like 3 years. Marnie Cass has been there one time right after the election to say that election fraud happened, but not in Hillsdale. She came one time to speak one time. These people don't participate in the local parade. They don't participate at our fair booth. They don't participate spreading information that we put out on Facebook. They don't share the content. They don't share the party values. Julie Gaines, my district chair currently, my district chair that signed up to be a PD, believes in abortion and believes in gun control and believes federal government should control all elections. Why in the hell is she in the Republican Party, and why the hell do I got to accept it? I am tired and done with these Democrats running as Republicans in my community, in Oakland County, in Washtenaw County, where you guys are at. I am tired of this crap. And I know that certain things we can and can't do by bylaws or statutes or laws or whatever. You know what? We want to make a change, and this is how we're going to do it. And it's the best we could do. So going into the convention, we disavowed 80-something people. I know, according to we tried looking up some state law in regards to how delegates are even seated. I can't find nothing in state law that shows me where delegates are seated, when they're seated. All I could find is convention rules. So there's nothing.
It wouldn't be in statute. It'd be in state party and county party bylaws.
I didn't see it in any bylaws of the state party. I didn't even see it in my local bylaws. And so I draw issue one with when delegates are seated, because I find it super bizarre that they come in on the day after election when any other government body seems like that they don't take over right away. There's usually a transition period. That we got candidates, delegates prior that voted in April for Matt DePerno, and then we got these new body people voting for Matt DePerno in this like primary election, if you will. It seems like a primary election in the convention. 99% of all precinct delegates don't know what a precinct delegate is. And 99% of them don't know what a convention is. And we're going to jump them right into a convention after election. It doesn't make sense. So my executive committee is changed over in November. And it would make more sense. That's when the delegates get seated. And they pick their new executive board, and then they pick their new officers, and that's how they should ride out. I don't even see when these delegates get seated other than through the convention rules. And so I find this all bizarre.
Oh, right. They do. That is how that works. Yeah. And by the way, we should also catch up on some chats. Yeah, Curtis Michael says county GOPs can create their own bylaws. But yeah, being a precinct delegate means having standing to vote at your county convention. That's what that is. Now, maybe some people don't understand that, and I've been beating the drum on this for a long time.
Yeah, you have been.
There's that people a lot of people, mostly politicians, create the impression that being a precinct delegate means your job is to basically knock on doors for the GOP, and maybe we want that, but that's you don't have to win an election to be a volunteer. The party will be happy to have you knocking on doors for any and all politicians for the Republican Party in your county. You don't have to win being a precinct delegate means you have standing to vote at your county convention.
Right.
And then the primary happens in August, and the convention happens a week later. And the question is, do precinct delegates understand their role? And A, it's their job to, but B, if they don't, it's the job of whoever recruited them to explain to them that that's what that means. And this is what, and then you say, well, here's what we're doing at the county convention. You win
election, next day you're going to convention. I mean, let's be honest, it's irresponsible at best. So we have the ability to change this. And so we're making a stance on this. Of course, it might not go anywhere. It may go somewhere. Who knows? But first off, we got local government officials along with state level officials that are rigging precinct. Now, we have election integrity issues going on for a couple of years now that are heavy. I mean, this is obviously stems back 20 plus years when we're talking about one county in Florida. Now we're talking about 7 states, if not more. And now we're talking about local level precinct delegates being rigged. This is beyond absurd. And so what we decided to do is disavow approximately 80 people. There's a bunch of different ways to go about this. First off, what's my relationship, or what's the Hillsdale County Party relationship in regards to government officials? What do the government officials owe the GOP, and what does the GOP owe these officials? There's a symbiotic relationship here, and I'm calling it out. What is the relationship here, and why is it the expectation of a win every time over principle? I am tired of that. We got party platform values. We got 7 basic ones that every Republican Party should have, and every single Republican in the state of Michigan should easily be able to get behind these 7 basic ideas. And so Julie Games, being a district chair that believes in abortion, she is not a Republican. I'm sorry. So how the hell do I get rid of her? We disavowed her.
A couple of things here. First is I just highlighted Stephen Ghostly's chat, which just caused me to realize I can do that. I've never done that before. So
Hey, why can't I see the chat, by the way? It says I'm in the show here.
you don't see it? It doesn't show
So-
up for you?
Yeah.
So anyway, apparently I can do that. I guess I'll try to highlight these chats now as I
cool.
read them.
That's a cool feature.
And yeah, you learn something new every day by accident. Yeah, look at this. So Dwayne Gritter says a face for radio. Agree 100%, Dwayne.
What a hater.
Hey,
but one thing that you're talking about is, like a lot of times, we are goody two shoes. We care about limited government. We love the Constitution. We're choir boys. We're angels. And we have power. These guys, when they're in power, they'll cut our throats in a second. We need to be more ruthless, or we're going to get steamrolled.
Yeah, we had armed security guard. We had armed security guard at our convention. That's how serious we are.
And by the way, I didn't mean to change the subject. In fact, Poindexter on YouTube says you want to dictate the morals, and that's a fair point. Honestly,
yeah.
My issue is that we litigate all of our policy views within the GOP. I'm an old school Ron Pauler, and we litigated foreign policy. With Trump, we litigated immigration policy, and people have a right to their opinions. And ultimately, the precinct delegates are the people who decide who their leaders will be.
So when you join Adam, when you join the Eagles Club, there's rules, buddy.
Sure.
Period. There's a code of conduct, isn't there not?
Yeah, but the code of conduct is not the same as a platform.
It's not. But we're talking about. Let me show you. Let me show you. This was signed by Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk, by the way. It says county party values. This was created from the county party. You want to be part of the county party? Here's the values. Do you guys see anything that's outside of the realm of the Republican Party there?
Well, no, but that's not the point.
There is
the Republican Party platform.
Let me tell you, there is a point, Adam, because this country was found on moral principles, right? Was it not? Sure. We're the party of faith, are we not?
Well, yeah,
tell me we're not the party of faith.
No, but how does that translate into policy?
Because thou shalt not kill, steal, and lie is a party of faith. Okay, so we have moral.
Sure, but Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney will tell you they're the principled conservatives.
Yeah, and that's why Liz Cheney was disavowed, and that's why Mike Shirkey's disavowed. I am tired of the Liz Cheneys in my party. I don't know about you guys. You guys love it out there or something. But you know what? We're doing something about it. Whether it's the right way or wrong way, that's debatable.
No. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying what you guys are doing is wrong, but I'm saying.
Oh, it probably is. We're not the expert at this stuff.
Well, no, but the point is, what we have is
it's like 90% wrong. I'm sure.
An ordinary, mundane competition for power with people that have different visions, and that's okay. And by the way, I would point out too. Also, you mentioned Andrew Fink. Fink actually was one of only, I think, 10 Republicans who scored non-negatively on our legislative report card. Now you could say, well, he still did this and this and this and this and this, but he still also was way above the average on Republicans on how we scored them.
And all John said was he didn't show up.
Yeah,
elected and didn't show up.
There was 3 criteria why there was this disavowed. I don't have those in front of me. I'm not the parliamentarian, so I can't speak for every single detail per se. I just I'm one person in the party, So, but there is a party platform here. And what is my relationship, or when I say what is our relationship at the Hillsdale County Republican Party? What do we owe Marnie Cass, my county clerk? Or what does my county clerk owe us? And this is a question I think that we're all going to be challenged with eventually here, because if we let the spectrum so damn wide to where anybody like Julie Gaines that believes in abortion, that believes in federal government controls all the elections, that believes in gun control, if we're going to let that spectrum so damn wide to get a damn win, then we're going to dilute our party to the point we don't have the Republican Party no more. To the point and if we don't have the party of faith, because we're the only one with the party of faith, then we don't have a republic no more.
So, John, let me
Well,
ask you
sure.
about
Okay,
convention.
so if someone,
John, let me ask you
so-
about the convention day.
Okay, convention day.
So, like a convention day, because I know it was like Shirky was complaining about it in the press. Supposedly, you were going to keep them out of the convention by force if necessary. Call the cops. So, what exactly went down on
Well,
convention?
the rumor is the sheriff was going to arrest everybody attending the event. So, I mean, you know,
okay,
that's
let's talk about what the rumor was. What actually happened?
So what actually happened was this: is we disavowed 80 people. We did send those disavowments out. We did say don't come to Old Wilson Hall, and they didn't, and they held a round convention in another parking lot. And so we held a convention, and they held a convention. Now, wait,
wait, hold on. Let's clarify. This is not like Macomb County. Your
No,
chair
it's
is
slightly
the
different.
actual. Well,
It's
okay,
slightly
but is the status of your chairman in dispute as it was in Macomb County, or
No,
is Darren
no.
Wisely? So Darren Wisely is the county chairman.
That's correct.
So your
And an
convention was
attorney.
your convention was the Republican convention. Period.
Hey, let me clarify to Amber. Just because you're an attorney doesn't mean you're an expert in anything in particular. it's a catch-all.
None of us
know the law.
None of us
You
are
should know the
attorneys,
law.
so that's not the issue here.
Yeah, no. I mean, election law. Just look at the election fraud, Amber. I mean, like, what attorneys grabbing that? Because nobody knows this stuff. This is such an area. Do you know how many parliamentarians even barely know this stuff? I met one recently that seems to know a lot of it. But I mean, Adam knows more than most.
Oh, this Adam?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Adam. I didn't hear your question.
Sorry, yeah.
He's breaking up a little bit.
He might be gone. So okay.
I for the last 30 seconds, I could hear nothing but noise. I'm sorry, folks.
It's okay, Adam. What was your question again?
I didn't ask a question. Wait, I mean, if I did, it was a while ago. I thought you were talking to him. My question was, so you are, I mean, well, not you, but Darren Wisely is the undisputed chair of the county. So
That's
you guys
correct.
had your convention. So the other convention had no legitimacy whatsoever, period.
That's correct.
But so you're saying you guys issued some disavowals against some precinct delegates, right?
Yeah. So we did. Not only did we disavow them, is we emailed them with their disavowments, and then we said don't attend the convention, and we gave them notice of trespass. Is what it is. So
look, I'm
aware, Adam. You don't have to stutter.
I'm not an attorney. That sounds problematic.
Yeah,
I mean, the whole point
it's very problematic, right, Adam? I'm aware of it.
Well, the whole point of having a public election for precinct delegates is that you're running to have standing.
Yeah, show me the law where they seat it.
Hey, look, man.
Hey, I know exactly.
We'll see what happens.
What I think is Darren Wisely is one of the brightest legal minds of our era, and this will go down as the seminal moment in which our freedom was restored by men who used the power at their disposal to protect freedom. God bless you, John Smith. God bless you.
Let me tell you another thing, though. Let me tell you this. The Democrat Party in our community has one precinct delegate in it right now. Okay, so there's 102 slots, and there's one precinct delegate. What if 10 of us signed in as precinct delegates on the Democrat side and took over the Democrat Party and called it American First Democrats? Is this okay behavior?
Well, there's two questions here. Is it legal? And is
I'm aware of that, Adam. That's not what I'm asking.
The legal question is. Yeah,
I'm not asking a legal question, Adam. I'm not asking that.
Okay,
you know
it. If a
I'm not
majority
asking you that,
of
Adam.
Republicans
There is something
run as
inherently
Democrat
wrong here.
precinct delegates and they have the votes
Yeah,
to overthrow
there is
their
something
Democratic Party at the
inherently
county
wrong
level.
here. If you want Senator Mike Shirkey to run the state of Michigan, then let's legally do it. But let's get his ass out like Liz Cheney.
By disavowment.
By disavowment.
I mean, why don't you just show the people at the convention why those delegates who are recruited by the establishment are
just show
wrong for the
Shirkey's
party?
best friends why he's an asshole.
The problem with disavowment is it creates the impression that people have been disenfranchised. I don't know that that's an
Dude,
effective.
my
I
whole
mean, it
point
might be
is
But the
legal.
way I see it,
all
the
the
way I see
Republicans
it,
in
is
Hillsdale were
disenfranchised.
disenfranchised through Marty Cass's rigging with Senator Shirkey's money to control for DeVos family. What are you talking about disenfranchised? I'm not concerned about Shirkey's best friends being disenfranchised.
the
I
way
am
see it
pissed
is
because the
turnabout.
hard-earning, working Hillsdale Republican Party patriots that are mom pas that only make 30 grand a year have been disenfranchised. We have bullies, and I'm going to pick on the bullies. How about that?
The way I see it is, okay, they will use the process. They will use every procedure, every dirty trick in the book to screw you as a grassroots patriot,
That's correct.
especially when you're someone like John Smith.
Two
who's
wrongs
going in-
don't make a
he's
right.
The boil. He's the boil on the ass of Shirkey, has been for years. So they've manipulated the process at every turn to screw over John and the Liberty Gang down there in Hillsdale. So now they're using the power while they still have it to throw the middle finger up back at Mike Shirkey. And
You know,
Adam may be right. Two wrongs don't make a right, but it's entertaining.
That's
and
correct.
great politics.
You both are correct. Adam, you're correct. Shane, you're correct. The thing is here is big changes don't happen unless you make noise, and that's what we're going to do. I mean, I'm no legal scholar, Adam. I can't just make a lot of these things in politics. As you know, this is what it feels like. I feel like I'm boxing Mike Shirkey, but not only am I boxing, I'm the trainer, I'm the coach, I'm taking the notes, I'm doing literally all of it.
Yep.
So as you all are in your own fights, right? So
but if you have the majority, if you put in the work and you have the majority, you can win.
You can't have the majority if they're rigging elections, Adam.
Are you saying they rigged the elections? Or are you saying they don't
yes,
have
I'm
the majority?
saying my clerk rigged. I'm saying the clerk in my county, along with these other people, yes, they are rigging the election at the local level.
That was the precinct delegate roundup we were talking about.
I mean,
manipulating the process.
We heard about what happened with a bunch of these precinct delegates getting disqualified. The remedy for that, to me, is you sue the fucking public notary that failed to properly notarize your documents for damages because they prevented them from.
But they still won't be precinct delegates, though. They still won't be precinct delegates.
How comes it's okay for Anthony Fernini to pass 47 of them when it's not okay for Hillsdale to do the same?
Isn't Anthony Fernini in Macomb County?
Yeah, but he passed 47 of them of the same type of applications. Hell, I can tell you what, right now, Danielle Mentz, that's John Rattan's daughter.
Well, okay, so yeah, I mean, they're two different jurisdictions and similar things happen. But okay, so Forlini in Macomb County did what you and me would agree would be the right thing. And the one in Hillsdale County was the douchebag. So remove the douchebag.
Well, that's in 2 years. Trust me, Adam.
It's a hurdle.
It's coming. So no,
John Smith for county clerk.
And I also think that this whole process, as John is doing it, the rowdy politics of John Smith and Hillsdale, that's going to drag these people through the mud. It's going to be more, it's going to be in the news. People
That's right.
eyes are going to be open to it, and then they're going to be more vulnerable to be removed in the future.
In all fairness, aren't you worried about, getting sued for, I don't know, what's that word, slander or all that jazz?
I hope so.
All of this.
I got free attorneys.
All of this is
Darren Weiss.
A huge distraction from what the goal really should be, which is knocking the fuck out of the Democrats in November and then sorting this shit out.
I disagree with that because we need to put pressure. I feel like, Adam, this is you saying we have to put pressure on them all the time. You're saying that, push pressure on the bad guys, and now you're like, wait a minute.
This is a new form. This is a new form of pressure that Adam still needs to wrap his mind around.
No, I mean, no. There is a degree here that we have. I mean, we are doing this on purpose, and we do have. I mean, in the chaos of all this, and the madness of all this, we want light to be brought on the precinct delegate election itself. I want the light put on to my county clerk that is literally rigging elections. I really do think that seating the precinct delegates is an important thing. I do think the process is important, Adam. I'm not being disingenuous with this. I do think the process is extremely important. But we do have a problem with what are the moral values of our party. We do have a problem with the way that our party conducts itself for wins over principles. We have a problem when I don't think it's exclusive to Hillsdale. I think everybody sees it. They don't know how to handle it. And just like us, we're handling it the way we see. There's a woman that emailed me and said that we're like a snippy cornered dog, if you will, and we're just blowing it up. Well, to a degree, and that's it. I mean, like, you put us in a corner. What do you want us to do?
Let's be real. There's two competing factions within the GOP. There's your Patriot faction and there's the establishment faction, and that's the way it is. That's all there is to it, and that's fine. Yep. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the perennial struggle.
But I sort of disagree in one thing, Adam. We have communists and we don't have communists. I think those are the two things that are inside our Republican Party. They are pushing communism, socialism, and we're pushing for constitutional Bill of Rights. Number one, Bill of Rights. So gun restriction. Anybody that's for gun restriction is not a damn Republican. They're a socialist. Get them out of our party. Call them as you see it, Adam. You're a great guy, dude. You're like a leader.
Well, I don't disagree. Although I'd also say, and again, that's the role of people who are independent, people who are outsiders like me. And this is why, Amber, I don't want to be the county chair.
I love you guys.
I don't want to have to be neutral in this kind of stuff.
Today, it's going to be. Today, Adam is he's questionable on the approach. Next year, it'll be Washtenaw GOP Chairman Adam D'Angeli disenfranchises every Rhino delegate in Washtenaw.
I'm moving to Washtenaw.
Yes, you could be this guy. You could blow up you could make the whole difference in Washtenaw.
I'm going to be Secretary of Washington. I'm going to come to Washtenaw and be the secretary. Well, I'll help you, Adam.
No, I mean, like, as I've said,
West Side
again. You guys, you act like you're our neighbors. Hillsdale's like 2 hours from where I live.
It's 45 minutes, Adam. You must drive like 30 miles per hour. Grandma driver.
You guys have no access to a highway. It's like a nightmare to get to Hillsdale.
We don't even have real newspapers.
Last time I was in Hillsdale, I remember there was a snowstorm, and I was driving a pickup truck that got stuck on a hill. And I had to have I was driving back to Ann Arbor with the lady who had to get out and monitor the overside of the hill so that I could drive in the left lane to get over, so I could drive diagonally to get it because the snow blocked me from getting back. Hillsdale is like more remote than I feel in Marquette right now. It's like
it's off the beaten path.
Country.
Yes, it's off the beaten path. South of 94, no freeway. It's tough to get to. I moved here from Corktown in Detroit, and so it's a world of a difference. And
anyway, I'm just poking fun at Hillsdale.
But
that's not important. Let's get back to
another thing.
Going
back to the convention, though. Going back to the convention, I just want to say too, though. I feel like we did a lot of distraction of Shirky. Why the rest of the GOP's ripping it up? Patriots, Kent County, Branch County, Monroe County. Man, everybody's ripping it up. Shirky's worried about Hillsdale County.
Livingston.
But seriously, folks, there is a time for this, and the time is between November 9th and the county conventions when we elect our new county leadership. Time right now is. Hey. You see that shirt we sell on our website? Spring is rhino season, fall's jackass season. That's what it is right now. And
thank you for having me on your show.
I'm all for beating up on rhinos.
Thank you for having me on your guys' show. I love you guys.
This is like we got so many good compliments. This is like
John. I'm not kicking you off, man. You're welcome to stay and hang out. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
We're not doing it. I mean, if you thought that's what I was saying, no, I'm not.
No, it's a constant challenge, you guys. I mean, like, I understand politics a little bit. I understand. I'm just, you know, you get tired. You know, I know you guys are all tired. I mean, I know you guys personally somewhat, and we put a lot of dedicated hours into this and time into this. And Adam, I mean, hats off to you, man, because the patience that you have, which is very little now, I can't believe that you even have that. So, I mean, I when I went to your meeting in Washtenaw there, and I saw your frustration at a regular meeting because they wanted to pay the internet bill, I just was, I feel your pain. And really, ultimately, for me, at least, I'm looking at my 9-year-old daughter, which you guys all have seen videos of her on Facebook, and she's going to have less liberty than the rest of us. And with that majority controlled Republican body of government. So what does that mean? That means our Republican Party values have not been honored. And it's time to honor some of that. And if it's the wrong thing to do, the right thing to do, who the hell knows? At the end of the day, when we all die, what's going to be the right damn answer? I don't know. But what I do know is I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm proud of the people in my party. We're working our asses off to promote these party values. We're working our ass off to do the parade, to do the fair booth, to push the Republican Party forward, to get conservatives elected. A year and a half ago, I inherited a party that was $1,500 in debt, that did absolutely nothing and had zero influence. They had no money, no people, no influence, no paying members, no nothing. They were so scared to do the damn parade because of COVID. And look at us now, little old Hillsdale.
The bane of Shirky's existence.
Yeah,
Exactly.
All right. Hold on. Let's and thank you, John. I am not going to
Yeah, you're good.
argue with you anymore about this. I do want to address some chats, and then I think also touch on a few other things we want to talk about tonight's show. You're welcome to stay. Thank you, John. 01 First has been posting all kinds of interesting messages. Who prays for the roads, sidewalks, and bridges? It's called taxpayers. No, I'm sorry. 01 First said it's called socialism. David Clixby says, so why is it that the township clerk can run for a delegate position? I lost to 4 established local politicians. That's a good question. The reason is because the law doesn't disallow it.
It sucks that you lost, David.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, David.
I mean,
Seriously, it
and
does.
by the way, folks, you know, we've talked a little about this. It's unusual for people to lose races for precinct delegates because most people never have to even compete. And it's certainly harder when you have to compete with someone who is a local politician. But that's just a burden that sometimes can happen with people. And all I can say, and it's too late to say now for this current cycle, is running against the establishment and asking people to vote for you for precinct delegate. It's tough. I mean, I don't know what you did to run for precinct delegate. And again, most of them never even really have to run. I mean, I didn't run. I just filed, and that's all it took because there was vacancies in my precinct. But it varies from place to place. And honestly, overall, I mean, in the broader picture for the Liberty Movement, the best thing is just recruit as many people as you can, throw everything you can at the wall and see what sticks. And most of it does.
Also, Adam, to emphasize on that, he can still do the great work that he wants to do. What I'm identifying, when we took over the party, I was like, when you got the precinct delegates, you take over the party. That's even wrong. Power goes where the work is done. So look at what Rescue Michigan has achieved. Look what Rescue Michigan's doing. This is where the power's at. It's in we the people. It's not a title of precinct delegate. It's not a title of any of these elected seats. You know, we got a county clerk that doesn't do crap for the Republican Party. Crap. In fact, she violates about everything the Republican Party stands for. So she has no power other than to rig elections. They have to rig to win. So the power goes where the work is. Look what Shane has done. Look what Amber's doing in Rescue Michigan. This is what precinct delegates do, is what we're doing right here.
Yeah, I would also say too, we made a point a couple of weeks ago.
Even if you lose your precinct election, that doesn't mean you should give up. Stay active, stay volunteer. We have a lot of work that needs to be done, and being a precinct delegate's a part of that. But you can be a very effective advocate for liberty and freedom and restoring our state and our nation, even without that title.
Yeah, I made a few weeks ago, we were talking about I don't know where we got onto the subject about how the possibility of maybe you should need to own land to vote. And my point was, if I lost my ability to vote, it would be the least effect possible on my political activism because I impact thousands of votes. If I lost my race or precinct delegate, it wouldn't stop me from being able to impact the votes of precinct delegates at county convention. I mean, any organizer who's determined can influence hundreds and thousands of voters.
That's right. Amber's not supposed to be voting. Look at her.
I don't know what that was in reference to, but all right.
Women anyway, talking about the 19th Amendment.
All right, let me read some more chats here. Let's see. Curtis Michaels says, Ron Weiser can be replaced at the state convention. Yeah, but why would you want to? He's giving millions of his own dollars to the state party. He's going to retire at the end of his term anyway. What's the point? I don't get it.
Yeah. Who are we going to replace him with?
I mean, he's going to be.
I don't even know who's going to be running. Yeah, right. Just let it.
And see my previous remarks about being chair. Who would want it? We should be grateful for anyone that even is willing to be chair. Let's see what else do we got here. I'm sorry, I've got to scroll through a bunch of left-wing chats. Yeah, Stephen Gosey says, "Bye, Amber. I'm moving to Hillsdale." That's funny.
Please come. I need help.
Marie Gutman says, I would agree that local elections people are rigging at least one Union Township precinct in Isabella County, provided Sharpies to mark balances from a reliable source. I can't really comment on that because I don't know. Just repeating what you just said. In general, folks, I would say be careful about what you hear people are reporting. We were talking earlier about people reporting rumors that there's going to be some effort at the state convention to denominate Matt DePerno and Christina Caramo. I don't think that's plausible, but people are saying they've heard it from people. People in politics say crazy stuff all the time. And honestly, that's the rule, not the exception. I mean, really, folks.
A lot of people.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Adam, a lot of people from the grassroots perspective, including DePerno himself, believe that was a potential. And so that was another thing. What we were looking at as well is a way to stifle that. I didn't know Kent County was going to flip. I didn't know Monroe County necessarily had the numbers. I didn't know. We weren't for sure, right? You know, we're in a transitional period right now in history in Michigan state politics. And so we were doing everything we can to protect that system too. And, obviously we don't have to with 100 measly little precinct delegates now.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, folks. And there is an establishment, and they are always a problem because, I mean, not only do they oppose our candidates, but then also they're often very poor at opposing the Democrats. And this is where these ballot proposals go. And by the way, and here, I shouldn't say this because I just warned you guys about repeating rumors. But I've heard a rumor that the establishment is going to try to somehow pass some kind of compromise deal to take something off the table with respect to the proposals. And I'm not entirely sure I believe it because one of the points I made to my source was, well, wait a second, the abortion, sterilization, and castration amendment and the election fraud amendment, they're both constitutional amendments. The legislature can't do that. What they could do with a citizen-initiated law would be something like what they did with the minimum wage increase, where there was a Democrat effort to get, or a left-wing effort to get, a minimum wage increase that also would end the tip exception. And what the legislature did under Tom Leonard was they passed the minimum wage increase but took out the tip exception. And that was enough to get it off the ballot by being a quote-unquote compromise. So I'm trying to get to the source of this and trying to figure out if there's any truth to whatever it is that's going on, because there might be something going on behind the scenes. But, generally speaking, you got to be really cautious with rumors because people, especially in politics, when emotions run high, people see what they want to see, hear what they want to hear, and say what they want to say is going on. And you got to be really cautious about that stuff.
QAnon's a real thing.
Yeah, QAnon's a real FBI thing. That's correct. By the way, that's a great point, man. I forgot I was going to talk about that tonight. I talked about this last week about how there was a guy who was strong supporter who had donated to Rescue Michigan, donated to John Riley, well-to-do guy who was now into this new version of the sovereign citizen movement, but now it's called state national. And then someone and after I said this last week, someone in a text group I'm in, so was saying the same thing. I'm going to become a state national and blah blah blah. I'm like, are you? This is.
Let me know when it works.
This is
all you need to do is renounce your citizenship and don't drive without a license, and then you'll have
No
your liberty
insurance.
back.
No insurance.
Yeah, go ahead and put a target right on your back. And yeah, I mean, people buy into this stuff easily because it's seductive. It's like we can save our country without having to do the shoe leather work of knocking on doors and talking to people and persuading people. I mean, if the election is totally rigged and your vote counts for nothing whatsoever, what's the point of doing any of that stuff? It's a safety valve for the establishment. It's a way to get people out of doing the hard work of organizing, mobilizing, educating, ordinary political activity that's not fun to do, but it's the only way that it's ever been done effectively.
I know you guys didn't make it out to our Reagan Day, but we had Steve Deace from Blaze TV come out and speak, and I don't know if you guys ever seen him live, but the guy is like, he's a short, pudgy guy, and he's wearing Skechers, kind of nerdy looking. I was, I mean, not trying to prejudge him or anything. And he got on stage, and I'm not going to lie, he took the air out of the room. I mean, this guy was outstanding. He's not he's not in fear of anybody. I'll put him up against anybody. And he made some really strong statements that really resonated through the whole room. We had a sold out show in our venue here in Little Old Hillsdale, which is not many people, but he said that the establishment right and the liberal left don't care about the rules. He says they don't care about your God. They don't care about your Constitution. They don't care about your bylaws. They don't care about your rules. And they're going to cheat and steal as much as they possibly can. Now, if you're above that, I'm not saying you, Adam, I'm just saying in general, you think you're above that and think that you're going to get a fair shake in this race, I tell you what, you ain't never going to get a fair shake in this race. You got to do anything short of God's law in order to win. They used to make they used to say things in sports when I used to watch sports pre-COVID days. If you ain't cheating, you ain't winning hard. You ain't trying to win hard. So like the thing is anything short of God's law, you do it. Because if you don't, they will take it from you. And I tell you what, nobody's taking my potatoes, buddy.
Yeah, but
Amen.
you draw a line in a very specific place when you say anything short of God's law.
It's
that's the problem that we also have too. Is we have people on our side trying to play the same games the Democrats play. I talked about this last night, talking about the Republicans trying to impeach Marjorie Taylor Greene on the same basis that Democrats tried to impeach Donald Trump.
We're not in the world
debase yourself that way.
Well, Adam, we're not in a world of crap because of patriots or the grassroots. We're in a world of crap because of the establishment, buddy.
I disagree with that statement, actually.
Yeah, me too.
We're not in a world of crap because of grassroots and patriots?
We're absolutely in a world of crap because of grassroots patriots.
We're in a world, so for 40 plus years in this neocon state is because of the grassroots patriots?
We're in a world of crap right now because the grassroots patriots took over and they can't raise money. So now we have a bunch of
talking about it. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me interject here. I think Amber is going a little too far here, but she's on the right track because
I went too far.
The point. Well, no, because you can't just say, because you're arguing against the point that everything is the fault of the grassroots, and that's not true. That's not true.
That's not true. I'm just saying right now what our problem is as a grassroots organization that took over is the. I know what you mean.
No. Let me hold on, everybody. Let me get to you here. The problem is that the conservative movement has been hampered by grassroots and indulging their flights of fancy to the point that they're not being smart about how to be effective. They don't have the ability to subordinate their personal desire to be right with their desire to win. And that's what I think it fundamentally comes down to. And of course, there's a million ways that works in different
We haven't
areas,
lost. We haven't lost liberty.
is
We
that
haven't lost liberty.
people want to be right.
I don't believe we've lost liberty at the hands of the grassroots. Let me rephrase that.
No. We haven't lost liberty at the hands of the grassroots. We've lost liberty for the grassroots not being as effective as they could be, and the reason they haven't been as effective as
that's
they
a fair
could be
statement,
is because they're self-indulgent, and because they want to be lazy. They want to do anything other than the shoe leather work of knocking on doors.
Obviously we got cons.
They don't want to offer. Sorry, go ahead.
No, we definitely have those cons, right? There's pros and cons to all the sides here. What I'm saying, just in the grand scheme of the last 40 years, approximately, since the Bush family with the endless war policy and stuff of that nature, this isn't all at the hands of grassroots. This is at the hands of big money, big corporations, big power. And, to say that Democrats are going to win because of grassroots and stuff like that, you know what? I tell you one thing is my party blew the hell up when Whitmer got in office. My party falls apart when someone like Snyder gets in office. So, like, we do have some other issues other than just that we can't raise money and big money is manipulative. We have to figure out what inherently, I think it has a lot to do with the party values. I think if State Party, if RNC would honor some just basic values and utilize disavowalment a little bit more, I think we could see some big changes in our national and stateside parties.
Well, I think one of the good things is you see the RNC, passing resolutions against, the likes of Meyer, Upton, and the
stuff like that.
We're seeing more pushback from the institutions that have failed us for so long because, like, as we see, this the overwhelming grassroots, the overwhelming rank and file Republicans are now America First patriots who see Trump as their leader and not, George W. Bush or Mitt Romney or McCain in the past. So the tide is changing. It's just that troubling tendency among the right to not see the bigger picture, to get disenfranchised after, getting punched in the gut at one convention. The left, it took them generations to obtain political power, march through the institutions, take over, all these different institutions at the universities, through bureaucracy and government. So they did all this work diligently in the shadows with very little to show for it tangibly in the moment, but they saw the big picture and now they're reaping the benefits. And if we're not willing to do that work ourselves, we're never going to get our liberties back, and we don't deserve to get them back unless we're diligent and long-term in our thinking.
You're right, Shane. You're right. And locally here, let me tell you, this is a thing I think it's a struggle. I don't know how to combat it. I don't know if combating is the right thing. We got like the ISD, just like in any other community. We got a sheriff department like any other community. We got a local hospital. We got local nonprofit institutions that get these funding through grants, like foundations and stuff like that. We got I don't know if I already said courthouse, but we got government bodies throughout our whole county. And if you add all that together, their husbands, their wives, their moms, their dads, their children, their brothers and sisters, and you start going down the line, that makes up in my community the largest voting block. So the taxpaying dollar pays for the largest voting block in our community. So when ISD has a millage, all those teachers are voting for that millage. So like we have this dog chasing its tail scenario down here of these people stand to benefit and their family and friends justify it because they're good people. Like inherently, everybody's good people. I mean, Mike Shirkey's a great guy. I'm sure he's helped hundreds of people. I'm sure his family and friends love him and his neighbors love him. Well, his neighbors don't love him because they contacted me, but everybody else seems, whatever. So these people are inherently good people, but we we have this fundamental problem with taxation and literally like millages. So everybody, we had a 800 megahertz system millage that was just put on recently for the first responders. So all those first responders, what do you think they're going to do? They're all going to vote for that. And non-responders decided not to vote for it. But I mean, like, we have these problems where the largest voting bloc in Hillsdale, I don't know if it is, but I bet it's pretty close to being tax-paying dollars.
Yeah, and the problem is that you get these interests that are hooked into the government, voting for these millages that benefit them, and generally other industries that are up for the next millage, they'll vote on yes on that too, because they realize what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and,
That's right.
and the average voter can't tell you what a millage even is. So it's a bad situation.
Just vote no.
On all of them.
Vote no
On
on everything.
Oh, you guys are Republicans. I could tell.
You guys are all tormenting me on the show when I have no internet and I can't even be seen on the show. We have like the highest viewership we've had, and the chat's blowing up, and I've got all these.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Adam.
We've gone rogue.
Yeah. By the way, Stephen Ghostley says you should be on our show every week, and I'm open to that. I'm certainly I'd be very happy with that. But let me at least read a couple of chats. Curtis Michael says you can't have someone as chair of the MIGOP just because he's a billionaire and donates $100,000 to the Republican Party, at the same time donated $250,000 that benefits the globalist agenda. Well, Curtis, first of all, you can have someone be the chair of GOP because he donated a crap ton of money. And yeah, I don't understand why Ron Weiser has donated back, in fact, a lot more than $250,000 to the University of Michigan, which is the globalist agenda, but so be it. But yeah, man, look, you can't beat something with nothing. You have to have a state chairman. He has to be able to raise money. And Ron Reiser didn't even want to be the state chairman, but what else are you going to do? If we didn't have him, who are we going to have? Laura Cox, the crook?
Betsy DeVos?
Yeah, I'd love to have someone. I'd love to have a multimillionaire state chairman who didn't ever give a dime to the University of Michigan, but that person, as far as I know, doesn't exist. Maybe he will
Adam,
emerge
my daughter
someday.
just graduated from U of M, and I had to go through that commencement speech, that couple-hour commencement speech. And there's thousands of students ahead of me. Of course, everybody's wearing masks around me and stuff too. This was just recently, and we had to sit through the bad weather. But through that couple hours, the most conservative speaker there was Shriver, of all people. And so everybody that went up talked about social justice, climate change, we're mean to black people. It was absolutely horrific. And out of the thousands of people that were sitting in front of me that were graduating, 600 or 700 of them were liberal arts degree that are going to amount to zero. And I was just flabbergasted that they're just pushing all this out. It was sickening to see.
Yeah. I mean, it never stops.
Not
it's everywhere.
Not surprising.
I actually went to U of M, and when my parents came for commencement, I was like, hey, how about we just go to Zingerman's Roadhouse and not go to commencement? And they're like, yeah, let's do that. So that's what we did. I didn't hear any commencement speech, and that was a great decision. Anyway, yeah, Tony Parton says, and I really want to read some more chats for a little bit here. Tony Parton says Ron Weiser maxed personal donation to Christina Caramo, $7,100. Yep,
he maxes out to any Republican that has.
Yep, and remember, obviously Weiser has given a lot of money to liberal globalist causes, but he also helped fundraise for Donald Trump. He wasn't one of the big money fundraisers who abandoned ship. He stayed around, fundraised for Trump, and has played ball with the pro-Trump people more than a lot of those kind of big name establishment fundraisers have nationwide. So, it's not as cut and dried as a lot of people make it. I'm not a huge fan of him, but you can do a lot worse in this.
Yeah. And besides, it's his money. I mean, you and me can say that giving to U of M is like giving to the Democrats, but that might not be the calculation in his mind. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure he went to U of M. I'm sure his kids did, and if that's his personal choice and how he wants to spend his money, that's that. So, anyway, let's see. What else do we have here? Carol Wynn says grassroots were naive and immature. They had to grow up quickly. We just don't want to go from immature to bitter old people and get nothing done. We cannot bash each other. We have to help each other grow.
Speak Carol, for herself. I'm not old.
I mean, here's what I would say to that point. I've seen grassroots people come and go all the time. People get into the movement ready to take over the world. When they see how difficult it actually is, they burn out and disappear. I've seen people that get involved and end up becoming the establishment because they're drawn to it as a way to avoid the frustration of being involved in politics. All I can suggest to people in general is try to avoid the drama and just keep on doing your work. That's what my strategy always is when people are yammering about this and that, and I've been called a Ryan and everything else, is just go about your work and try to ignore the yammerheads, as Robert Hagman put them.
I tell people to try to get good at one thing. Like if it's, so I had like a lady just recently call me from Lenawee County, just right down the road. She was trying to like go on election integrity. Let's just take that, and you know how big election integrity is not like a 10-man team. I mean, election integrity is huge. And that's just such a big topic that you're not going to be able to wrangle in, and you're not going to be able to tackle it as a single person with no skill set. So she was asking like some of the things she could do. I said, why don't you go start taping your local township meetings? Just start there. Start understanding what these titles are. If you don't know your township supervisor, then shame on you. Something as simple and basic as that. And the people in your community will appreciate it. There'll be individuals, and that's how you'll get more people to come on as well. And you can get good at one thing. I mean, that was just one particular suggestion. I mean, but you can get good at going to the school boards. You can get good at, there's a lot of things you can get good at. And so I tell people, try to find something that you find, like if you like tech gear, use your tech. You like using a drone, use a drone. Figure out a way to use that drone for your skill set to get in this movement. Adam's right. You'll get burnt out. I've been doing this this is my 6th year. I did 2 sheriff campaigns, and now I did a state rep campaign, and I'm secretary of the GOP down here in Hillsdale. It's a constant fight, constant work, and I'm burnt out. But I'm not going to give up or anything because that's not my style. But I could see why people leave. And I've seen lots of people leave too after 6 months because Ryan Kelly wasn't getting enough votes or something like that. And they just get mad and leave. In all reality, stay in and get good at one thing and keep to a schedule. Like Adam had a talk with me one time, and this is for the people watching the show and listening to the show. And I think I might've brought it up before, but Adam, my wife and I have gone through struggles because of how much my involvement in politics are. And I mean, my finances, everything. And I'm giving it all. I'm giving everything to this. And Adam said, pick family over the politics. And in all honesty, he's correct. You have to slow your roll. You're not going to be able to change the world. You might get lucky. Like I got lucky with the undercover video of Shirky, but that was luck. I didn't know what I was doing. I just undercover and slapped it on and blasted. Now I was able to affect state politics. That was luck. That was all luck. That wasn't done by design. And you can make a change by getting people involved. That's how you make the change. Get people involved. Get specialized at something. Get good at something. Someone else is going to come up and say, how do you do that? I want to do that. And then now you can go do something else. And we need more coverage at a local level. You can't beat it from top down. You have to beat it from bottom up. That's the only way to do this. And the faster you learn that, the better.
You can insulate your own community, your own locality, your own precinct from the evil that's coming down from the top if you're well organized, if you're smart. And then once you have a handle on precinct level, it moves up to local level, then it moves up to state level, and that's how you can have success. But it's the long road. We're never going to have the money advantage where we're going to just be plucked out of obscurity and then the money's going to be behind us and then we're on easy street. It's never going to be like that. But we have to go the extra mile. We have to do the work. We have to work from our precinct level up in order to have success. And we have to be smart. If we're not smart, we'll shoot ourselves in the foot, as we've seen many grassroots
if we all burn out, then it does us no good either. If we're spinning wheels, it does us no good either.
Speak for yourself, John. I'm going to change the world.
You already have in mind.
Aww.
No, John's and by the way, John, thank you for.
I think about it almost every day, Adam.
And for everyone else watching, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You never ever put politics before your life. Otherwise, you will end up like me. But seriously, though, I mean, I really do mean that. I mean,
Old and
I've seen people
cynical.
burn out. Well, no, I mean worse. I've seen people burn out and quit, and we've lost good people who are going to change the world, and worse than that too.
Speaking about burning out, I have to go to bed. So,
all right, thanks so much,
night,
Amber,
everybody.
for joining us.
Good seeing you, John. Bye, Shane.
Love you.
But yeah, everybody, you got to keep perspective. It's easy when you're talking politics to think the world's going to end tomorrow. And people that drive that narrative are often the politicians themselves. This is the most important election of our lifetimes. They say that every year. And it might even actually be true, just, the butterfly effect. The things that happen in the past affect what happens in the future, but it doesn't matter. You can't let your life be ruined by your political passions. It's not good for you or for anybody. It's not good for the movement for you to have to for you to disappear because you're burned out. And getting back to some chats, Todd Pickernick says, I get it. They need money. I think it was back when talking about politicians need money. I've been donating like crazy, but at the same time, it should be those with no money and people who want to serve. The money just causes all kinds of problems. Just look. Well, yeah, I mean, money in politics in general, obviously money talks. But the problem that I think we have more often is that people who run for office can't even, or well, I shouldn't say can't, don't meet even the baseline of how much money they have to raise to be effective. Because, yeah, you need some amount of money to run for office. People can win
in a state
2 to 1,
race,
3 to 1, 4 to 1, but you
for
have
an
to have at least something.
in Hillsdale for a state rep race, just a state rep that represents Branch County, Hillsdale County, we spent $50,000 and our opposition spent close to $250,000. So, I mean, like, you had to come in, even if you got a solid message, even if you're the good candidate in your area, you're going to have to come in with a significant amount of money. If you go to Wayne County, Oakland County, some of these big county, Kent County, you're talking about some big money, and you got to reach a lot of people. I don't think it's ever changed. I think that money has always been stand the test of time. So your money does play a role in politics. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, but the other point I would say too, though, is people, every person can raise money. We often have problems with grassroots candidates that don't raise money. And, campaign school, I'm like, here's how you raise money. It involves you calling every person you've ever known and asking for a lot of money. And there's a technique to it that I explain to people. And a lot of people don't do that. They will ask strangers for money. They will send out email blasts asking for money, but they won't do the most effective thing that works for raising money, which is to ask people personally point blank for a lot of it. And it's because it's hard. It's hard
pride.
Personally to do it. But that's what it takes. And the people who get into office, guess how they got into office? By asking people for money.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you one, though. Steve Carra and Donna Brandenburg. So Donna Brandenburg obviously having a lot of money, or supposedly having a lot of money. I mean, the rumor has that she's a billionaire. And she was talking about how her message is going to be louder than her money. I'm like, yeah, right. Whatever you say, woman. But so we got.
Yeah, why didn't she put her money into running for the Republican nomination? I mean, why didn't she put her money into getting the signatures?
Her message is loud, I guess. I don't know, but she was talking about Steve Carra, and she didn't like the first time that Steve Carra met her. He asked her for a max donation, yeah. I just thought it was comical. So when I had my candidate around, like Kevin Rinke, I'm like, you better go ask him. I don't care if he gives it to you or not. You just ask him. And you're supposed to, if you want to win, you got to get those max donations.
Yeah. Curtis Michael says nobody I know has any money, but then he says lol. So he knows that's BS. Everybody knows people that have money. Marie Griffer Werner says, Adam, off topic. Did you finish the amendment flyer? And can we have a PDF so we can get it out? We have a plan to hit the precincts. Marie, that is not off topic. This whole show has been off topic. That was the thing we were going to get to from the get-go. And now here we are almost 2 hours in. The flyer is not quite finished. I have side one done on the election proposal, which I will show you all now. Side two is not done. I will take tomorrow. out of my vacation in Marquette to make side 2. I know what side 2 is going to be about the abortion stuff, and I have a plan for what we're going to put the image of transgender children and drag queens and aborted fetuses on the side about the abortion thing. But I haven't done that one yet, but we're going to get it very soon. We are going to get an email out very soon where what we want to do is sell these by the thousands, where we have a flyer that we can distribute by the thousands at a very low cost to people all across the state attacking these proposals. And as I said, I think I said this on last week's show, but getting back to that thing about winning in November, exposing how radical these ballot proposals are and forcing the Democrats to endorse them, which they all will if you force them to take a position on them. That will give you the ammunition you need to defeat any Democrat anywhere when they endorse castration and sexual mutilation of children, when they endorse removing every last safeguard against election fraud. So let me see if I can pull this up again, folks.
We should let those Republicans in that believe in that, right, Adam?
Are there any? Have you seen any?
I don't know. I'm just joking, though.
All right. Well, I don't know. Anyway, let me pull up. I will try to make this work. It may be tricky. Like I said, I'm not using my normal computer system. Typically, when I'm at home, I have what's like a ballot, like a battle station with 3 monitors and all kinds of stuff. I don't have that now. But let me try this. Let me see if I can go image, full screen preview, and why is it so small? Let me make it bigger. Okay, it still looks small on the screen, so I will try my best. Let's see if we can make this work. Share screen. The smarter thing would be for me to just put this in tomorrow's email or Tuesday's email or whatever it is. But let me give it a shot here. View, full screen preview. Can I make this any bigger? Okay, well now it's too big, and it cuts out whenever I. Yeah, this is not going to work. Yeah, I see. Yeah, Dwayne Gritter says it's really small. Yeah, it's not going to work. All right, don't worry about this, folks. We'll do an email blast about this soon. You can see the top. It says what voters need to know about the vote scam proposal.
I'm sure it's good, but after one of the we get this done, we need to dumb this down and get a dumb down.
Yeah, well, no, I actually it was based on some things we've mentioned in email blast and some points about the proposal I just lopped off because they weren't the best points. And it looks tiny. I know that looks tiny on the screen, but on an 8.5 by an 11 page, it's not tiny. It's actually large font. But yeah, anyway, this is not going to work for tonight, so it is what it is. All right, folks. We've been going for a long time. This is supposed to be my vacation. So I think we should call it a stream tonight. John, thank you so much.
No, thank you guys.
It has been a blast. We will have, I'm sure, another spicy stream next Sunday. And hopefully from the comfort of my home where you guys can see me, because I know you really want to see my face. And we'll be able to show off cool stuff. And oh, great, we're getting spammed on YouTube. That's lovely.
One of John Smith's many fans is chimed in.
Yeah,
from Nude HD XYZ best adult dating site.
Hey,
yeah.
don't hate.
We had a commie punk in the chat earlier who was just trying to provoke us, and that didn't work. So I guess his next go-to was some kind of like Chinese porn spam thing, which
sounds
goes to the mentality of the of leftists. They have no, if they can't argue their point, they'll just hurl lies and spam and garbage at you because that's the way they operate. But anyway, all right, guys. Pam Bycraft says one of the best Sunday chats. Thank you, Pam. We appreciate it. We will endeavor to have many more to come. So, all right, guys, as always, let me see if I can bring myself back on the stream. It's going to, well, let's see what happens. Not that it really even matters anyway. Edit name. That's not what I want to do. Can I just wait? All right, guys, here I am. I'm back. back just to say goodbye. Thanks always for all you guys do for liberty. Until next time, peace out.